Hey there. So I used to call myself a high functioning alcoholic. But in reality, what I really was a closet drunk. Um, so let me tell you my story. So this content's a little bit different than anything that I've ever put out here on this channel. But this channel is all about breakthrough in your finances, breakthrough in your personal life, in your health. And I feel like sobriety stories totally fit into that wheel. And so, and I want to start off with my sobriety story. So, I'm 51 years old. I'm a retired nurse. I'm a mom of two, grandmother of two, and I have been sober since October 12th of 2023. So not that long, but feels like forever ago when I was bound by alcohol. So it's like, where do I start? Oh my gosh, where do I start? So I come from a long line of alcoholics. Alcohol was part of our familial culture. Um, Family drank wine at every event. Sometimes liquor, sometimes beer, but mostly come from a long line of wine drinkers. And I have several family members that are bound by alcohol. I hate the word alcoholic. I'm still working on that. But anyway, I was a casual drinker. Just occasionally, maybe once or twice a month, I would have a margarita with a meal or a glass of wine with a meal up until sometime around the age of 40. I have a diagnosis of Lyme disease. So I began drinking more regularly, more or less to manage my pain from Lyme. And sometime around age 43, 44, it became a daily drinker. I became a daily drinker. Started off with wine, box wines. Yeah, I know, I was a cheap box wine drinker. And then after a couple years, it got to the point where the box wine just wasn't cutting it. And so then I started drinking vodka. And so I was doing all the things during that time. I was being a mom. I was showing up for all the events. I was not drunk. I was a closet drunk. I only drank at home. So I wasn't drinking and driving. I wasn't going out and partying. I wasn't passing out in fields. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just drinking at home. So around 4 o'clock of every single day, I was waiting for between 4 and 5 to roll around, and I would start drinking, and I would drink until I was completely drunk every single night. And it got to the point where I thought I was managing it pretty well, but my family started to get really concerned about me. And I had a routine physical back in October of 2023, early October 2023. And in my routine physical, my liver enzymes were elevated. And as a nurse, I knew that meant my liver was becoming sick. My doctor didn't even say anything about it. She sent me my lab work. They weren't elevated to the point of being concerned. They weren't elevated to the point of needing a biopsy or needing a sonogram or needing any kind of intervention at all. They were just elevated. And I'm sure, I had not even divulged to her that I was a daily drinker. So sometimes liver enzymes can be elevated just, with fatty liver disease that is not related to alcohol, or it can be elevated sometimes just from inflammation, which I have a lot of inflammation from Lyme disease. So I'm sure she just dismissed it. Like I said, it wasn't critical, but they were definitely elevated. But it was elevated enough for me to say, you know what, I really need to start backing off of the alcohol. So in October, I told my family I was going to stop drinking so much, and I had no intention of becoming completely sober. But I knew that I was drinking every single day to drunk. So I knew that I couldn't cold turkey quit alcohol. So I just began weaning off. So I began by drinking every other day, and then every skip 2 days. And I had gotten to the point where I was skipping 3 days at a time. And my family did not trust that I was going to quit drinking. And so they sat down, did a little intervention with me, and just basically said, we think you need to go in the hospital. I absolutely emphatically refused to go in the hospital. But I did enter a outpatient alcohol program, which I have strong opinions about that. So my very last drink was on November 12th, 2023, and I am still sober as of today. I have absolutely no desire to drink alcohol. But there are some things that I have learned along the way that I want to share with you. Several reasons why I definitely want to share with you on why I think I've been able to maintain my sobriety, and some really tough lessons that I have learned along the way. I'm one of those people that I'm going to share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to only show you the highlight reels. I'm going to tell you the truth, or my truth. I'm going to share my real experience with you, because I don't feel like highlight reels help anyone at all. Before I do, though, I just want to say that if you have a sobriety story that you feel would be helpful and encouraging to other people, I would love for you to share your story with me, and I can post it here on my channel, or I can interview you. So you could just send me a video and I'll post your video on my channel. Or like I said, we could do interview style where we just talk about sobriety. But I feel like it's important that we share our stories with other people to give people hope. Because sobriety is one of those things that I've discovered that a lot of people have a very difficult time maintaining for whatever reason. And they need to know that even if they failed at staying sober, they can get sober again. Or maybe it's somebody who's never even tried to get sober and they're scared. So I think us sharing our stories with each other can really, really help. Because I've come to the conclusion that I feel like my personal opinion is that alcohol is a poison. It affects every single organ of your body, from your brain to your skin, to every internal organ. It affects the way you think. It affects the way you feel, affects your emotions. It affects the way you process information. It affects your relationships. It affects your finances. It affects every single area of your life. And so I would not take a little bit of hemlock poison. So my opinion at this point in my life is I don't see myself ever drinking again, because I feel like it is a poison that affects your body. Also, from a spiritual standpoint, there's a reason they call alcohol spirits, because it is fake. It's fake interference with your spiritual side. So it gives you, some people, it makes you feel uninhibited. And then some people, it makes you feel angry. So it gives you permission to feel and express and do things that you wouldn't do sober, which is counterfeit. It's counterfeit connection to the spirit world. So from a spiritual standpoint, getting drunk is blaspheming the Holy Spirit, in my opinion. It's I know that's a wackadoodle kind of thing to say, but that's my opinion. I don't want anything counterfeit. Okay. So I've told you my story. I'm just reading over my notes because I don't want to forget anything. So first of all, I'm going to share some observations that I've made about actually getting sober. The first observation is that it is not advised for anyone. If you're a daily drinker, it's not advised to quit cold turkey. It can actually be very dangerous for you to quit cold turkey. In fact, it's not really advised for you to do what I do and casually wean off. If you are a daily drinker, it is advised by professionals to seek professional help with your detox and with coming off of alcohol or drugs. So I know that I told you guys how I did it, but that's not an advisable way to stop drinking. So again, if you're a daily drinker, you do want to seek out help with a healthcare professional in order to get sober. So that's number one. Number two, the thing that I observed in the alcohol and drug treatment program that I went into was I was in the program for about two, almost 2.5 months. I went several times a week, and, it was like a group type scenario, and I saw a lot of people come and go. Saw a lot of people that were there for one meeting, maybe 2 meetings, 3 meetings, 4 meetings. There were very few. There was only just a very few, small handful of us that were there for the whole time. Now, some people were there before me and some people came in after me, but most of the people that were there came and went. And the reason is because they hadn't made the decision. The people that came and went, the people that didn't maintain their sobriety in this small window of time, again, this is my observation. The thing that they had in common with each other was that they did not make the decision themselves. They were there because their family forced them to be there. I know my family did want me to go, but I don't do anything that I don't want to do. Or their job, they were caught drinking on the job, and they had to go to a program in order to maintain their employment. Or they failed a drug screen, or they failed a urinalysis at work, or they had a DWI or public intox, so the court was involved, or whatever. So the people who did not want to be there, they had not made the decision. Those are the people that I saw that were failing. So my question for you is, if you want to get sober, have you made the decision to get sober? Because the actual word decide means to cut off from any other options. So when I decide to do something, it's just in my personality type. When I make a decision, I'm going to do it regardless of, I'm going to keep my mind focused on the task. I'm not going to worry about anything else, but I'm going to do it. So number one is make a decision. The second thing that I did that was super important was I changed my habits. So there were certain things that I did that signaled that it was time for me to drink. Like I would, stop. I would wind down on the computer. I would go get my cocktail ready. I would sit down in front of the TV and relax for a little while before I started making dinner. So I had to change my habits. I had to change my behavior. I had to change my routine. So that is important. Like if there's certain people that you hang around with, certain things that you do, you probably need to completely change that. So rather than watching TV, I began reading again. I also began listening to podcasts. I began filling my mind with positive things. Also, I was going to therapy a few times a week, so that was something new into my routine. The next thing that I did was surround myself with accountability. And that means that I had to be very public with my sobriety. So I have a big Facebook, group. I have a lot of people on Facebook that I've grown over the years. I'm also have a big TikTok following. That's the word I was looking for. And anyway, so everywhere I let everybody know that I was sober. Even the people at the grocery store. Like I've been shopping at the same grocery store for over 20 years. And so they knew me and they saw me, nobody ever asked if I was an alcoholic, but they saw me buying alcohol there multiple times a week. And so I let everyone at the grocery store know that I was sober. Do not let me buy alcohol. If you see alcohol in my cart, confront me. And they were also out, you worry about people judging you, but everywhere that I went, when I made the public post on Facebook, at the grocery store, everywhere in my life, people met me with love. They met me with non-judgment, with love and understanding. They were not critical of me. I'm sure a few people judged me, but nobody did to my face. And it continues to be that way. Like at the grocery store, my friends that I have made over the last 20 years there, they would come up to me, when they saw me, "Hey, Liz, how are things going? Are you doing good?" They wouldn't directly say, "Hey, are you drinking again?" And I would just say, "Yes, I'm still sober." And, "I'm so proud of you. It's so awesome." And every single place that I went, when I talked about my sobriety, I would have somebody say, "You know what? I really need to stop drinking." And you're giving me the push to do that. And so share your story. You want to hold yourself accountable. You want to hold those or have those people in your life, give them a chance to help you with your sobriety. So be honest with everybody about it. There's no shame in sobriety. The next step is to forgive yourself. There's going to be things that come up that really are going to shake you to your core. There's going to be things that you said, things that you did, things that you weren't aware of that were happening because of your drinking or because of your use, that it's going to come up and it's going to be painful. Family's going to tell you about stuff. You're going to realize that you lost friendships and you said things and you did things when you were drinking that you would never do sober. And I think that's part of the healing process that helps keep you sober, is going through the pain of knowing what you did when you were a drinker or when you were using. So for me, that's been an important piece to help keep me sober, is the pain of knowing the person I was when I drank. So you don't want to skip over that part of the healing process, is understanding how terrible you were and can be when under the influence. But it's important that you forgive yourself and you don't get into like a shame cycle while you're going through it. And then just the next piece is just ask for forgiveness from those people that you've hurt. My kids are grown, and we spent a lot of time crying. Especially my youngest daughter, she was just really scared that I was going to die. And that was extremely painful to hold her and tell her that I'm sorry for scaring her like that. She never voiced it to me as I was drinking, but she was mortified that I was going to die. So that's been tough. So yeah, that's been tough. So but learn to forgive yourself and learn to ask for forgiveness. So those are my main tips for getting sober. But there are some other things I want to share with you. Some of the positives that I definitely want to share with you, it's obvious, a lot of people talk about this, but I'm definitely sleeping better. So my husband used to say that I had sleep apnea, but I was actually just drunk. And when you're drunk, you don't sleep. You don't sleep good. And I was trying to stop breathing because my whole central nervous system was trying to shut down because I was drunk every night when I went to sleep. So now that I'm not drunk when I'm going to sleep, I'm sleeping so much better. I don't require 10, 12, 14 hours of sleep every night. I thought it was the Lyme disease because I was in denial that it was alcohol, but I don't need as much sleep and I'm sleeping much better. So that's definitely a positive. My skin is better overall. I mean, I am menopausal, so I have skin issues. Rude. But overall, my skin was jacked up. It was terrible. So my skin definitely looks better. I've lost so much inflammation within the first month of being sober. My face looked like a different face just because my face was so inflamed and swollen and puffy, and my neck, it looked terrible, and definitely lost a lot of inflammation. I was able to release about 10 pounds in inflammation within 6 weeks. At no effort on my part. I wasn't trying to lose weight. It was just, I was swollen everywhere because the poison of alcohol was affecting my body's ability to heal itself. And then another positive is I'm definitely just more creative, more clear. My mind is definitely I didn't have traditional hangover, headaches and stuff, but I was just in a brain fog all the time. And that has definitely just left. Okay. So lastly, I hope I'm not boring you with my story, but lastly, I just want to talk for a minute about some tough lessons that I've learned, because I feel like a lot of people don't share this part of sobriety. And this is one of the things that makes sobriety really hard. Okay. Sobriety is not easy. To me, honestly, one of the easiest parts about it was just the detox from craving alcohol. The hardest part is just starting over and dealing with stuff that I wasn't dealing with. So one of the tough lessons is just dealing with the fact of thinking about all the time that I lost being drunk and being hungover, not feeling good, years I wasted. And being 51 years old, I realize that time is our most precious commodity, and just now understanding how much time I wasted is very difficult for me to process. So anyway, that's been a very tough. Number 2 is I was ignoring very real relational problems with people. I was letting people treat me poorly. I was letting people take advantage of me. I was doing things that I should not have been doing in relationships. and not standing up for myself and not setting boundaries for things that needed to be done, because I would just, start drinking and just not deal with it and just let people get away with doing what they were doing. So those problems were still there. I was just ignoring them. So I've had to deal with those, and it's been extremely painful. There have been some extremely important relationships that I've had that I've lost because I'm simply not willing to put up with what I was willing to put up with when I was drinking. And that's that's something I feel like I've never heard anybody talk about, but it is a true thing that for me has happened with sobriety. The other thing is that even though I'm sober, I still have problems with depression and anxiety. So I think a lot of times people think that when they get sober, all their mental health issues are going to get better. And for me, that just I'm better at coping with them, but they're definitely still there. They were way, 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 way worse when I was drinking, but they're still there. So that's an honesty piece of the puzzle, that you're still going to have these issues, and you're still probably going to need to be in therapy, and you may still need to be on some kind of medications to help you through these situations. But when you stop drinking, they're not just going to go away. So anyway, I feel like I kind of ended there on a sad note, but again, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's my motto. I still feel like it was 100% worth it to be sober, to get sober and to be sober. And I'm not regretful in any way, shape, or form for getting sober. It's just at the point now where I'm only like 14, 15 months in. It's still tough. I'm still working through those issues that I didn't deal with when I was drinking. So I think it's been 100%, like I said, 100% worth it. It's just been tough. It's just been tough. So I want to end it with this. Like I said, if you have a sobriety story you'd like to share, I would love to put it up here on the channel. I think I'm probably just on one Saturday a month going to share a video from somebody just to give people encouragement. But if you need help, if you would like to start the sobriety journey, AA is a great resource. I personally never did AA. I don't like personally the idea of going in and just saying I'm an alcoholic every single day and keeping that like at the forefront. I was an alcoholic, but I'm not an alcoholic now. I was bound by it, but I am not now, and I'm not going to keep that as I'm keeping my sobriety as the forefront. I still go to therapy. I still have people that are holding me accountable, but just for me, AA wasn't it. Wasn't part of my sobriety journey. And so everybody gets sober a different way. Everybody needs different types of resources and support, but AA in general is a great place to get started for most people. So you can just go to aa.org, or you can reach out to any treatment facility. There's tons in every single city. There are treatment programs, outpatient and inpatient. So, and then if you don't want to do any of that, you could just reach out to your family care physician or your local mental health therapist, and they will help you. But what I don't want, be gentle with this, is I don't want a lot of people like giving advice in the comments here on YouTube, because number one, I feel like it's a personal issue. I don't want any kind of judgment or any of that happening here. But I also feel like it's important that you seek professional help if you need help. So I will support you, encourage you, and love you, but I am going to direct you to seek professional help. If you ask me, what should I do? How do I get sober? I'm going to direct you to professionals. So I hope this was helpful, and that's all.